guys, Carlo Filippo in here, your muscle chef, ready to talk to you about this guy, the chicken pound. What do we do with the chicken pound? We prepare grilled chicken in different flavors, 6 to be exact. If you're serious about bodybuilding and you meal prep, don't go anywhere else. This is the company for you.
RX Television on rxmuscle.com. This is Ask Dave, better known as #AskDave. This is your 30-minute question and answer show with Dave Palumbo. All your questions on diet, training, supplementation, IFBB pros, competitions. Of course, the Arnold Classic is just 3 weeks away. Excited over the course of the next 3 weeks. We're going to be bringing you all sorts of preview segments. We just recorded 2 episodes of Iron Debate, which is going to be going up over the course of the next couple of days. Dave just wrapped up an interview with Patrick Morris, so we're going to be bringing you interviews with some of the top athletes from the upcoming show. All sorts of preview segments, analysis, all on the docket, and of course, our on-site coverage. As we now bring in Dave Palumbo. Dave, Valentine's Day is around the corner, and we have 2 big-time sales, one with Titan Medical, and then, of course, one at speciesnutrition.com.
Yeah, Species Nutrition is going to be offering one of our #1 best-selling products, Testolyze, which is a testosterone optimizer. It will help raise your natural testosterone, minimize DHT and estrogen. We sell it, so well that I'm so happy. It's a really awesome product. From teenagers who have bad acne to women who have thinning hair and acne, it pretty much does it all. And it's a product that's, once again, a lot of people always ask me, hey, is it safe? I'm in the NCAA. I don't want to fail any drug tests. There's no illegal substances in it. It just makes use of smart herbal technology, and that's really what it amounts to. Anyway, we're offering it over almost 50% off. It's going to be $29.99. It's usually, almost $60 full retail. We're doing it for Valentine's Day because you know what? When you raise your testosterone, you raise your libido. And we know we want you guys to have a great libido, for Valentine's Day, so, you can please your significant others. And you can head over to speciesnutrition.com and pick that up. You can't combine that offer with any of the discount codes, but if you have a discount code and you're using it on other products, they will still work. Of course, if you order over $100, you get free shipping. Now, for our friends over at Titan Medical Center, I want to just say that they have a really, really awesome offer as well. They're offering, Viagra, Cialis, in their formulas. They're atrocious. You put them under your tongue, they dissolve, and you could get some amazing results from that if you want to get a little pick-me-up. The great thing about the peptides and the, I guess you could say the aphrodisiac type stuff like Cialis and Viagra is that you don't need to be a full-time, in terms of client with them. You don't have to go and get blood work done. You can just call them up and sign up, do a consult with the doctor online, and you can order your stuff. You can literally have it in one day. So that's a great thing. Now, some of the formulations they have are really cool. They got some great names. Cupid's Candy. That's probably, that's awesome. There's a peptide known as PT141. What that does, it's kind of like it's almost like a melanotan derivative. Melanotan, which was a lot of guys use and women use for getting dark. It tans your skin, but it also had a libido increasing effect, almost like a Viagra effect. But they've removed the actual tanning part of it, and they actually just have the central nervous system libido effect. And it's actually FDA approved, believe it or not. So this peptide is something that you could take if you want to increase libido with no other side effects related to that. So a lot of people using that. In this Cupid's Candy formulation, they have that. They have oxytocin, which is as we all know, the love hormone helps you with attraction and it makes you want to feel love. And then, of course, they have Cialis in there. So that's like a triple threat right there. So ask for Cupid's Candy if you want all three of those. You could get, they have something called, I love this name, it's great, Scream Cream. It's something that women rub on their genital area, and it actually increases, I guess, sensitivity down there. It's got Viagra in it. It's got, if you want to go on their hormone replacement, you can actually get it. You can even get it with testosterone cream in there, very low dose, obviously for women. And also it has this, it has arginine in there also to increase nitric oxide release. So the Scream Cream you can rub all over the place down there, and supposedly it works great. I don't know, I'm not a woman, so I haven't tried it, but I hear the results have been very, very good. And they also have what's called the Ultimate Superman. Who doesn't want to be the Ultimate Superman, right? And that would be either Cialis or Viagra with micronized testosterone. And that's at 10 milligrams. So it's in a troche, you put it under your tongue, and you get the testosterone boost, and you got the Viagra or Cialis. You can pick which one you want. So the Ultimate Superman, you guys might want to ask for that. The women, you might want the Scream Cream. I don't know. Check it out, though, at TitanMedicalCenter.com. Tell them RX Muscle Dave Palumbo sent you. They're going to give you a great discount. They're super nice over there. They're very helpful on the phone, and they can make all this happen. And once again, tremendous discounts for Valentine's Day, all for the month of February.
Love it. Let's get to the questions. The first two questions from the Dave Palumbo Experience app. The first question, Dave, now that I've lost all the weight, I want to following your exact low carb diet. How do I transition into a maintenance or lean gain phase? Does all the meals stay the same, and I just add in little carbs?
Yeah, what I like to do, especially after people come right off a diet, because it is, it's so extreme, is to gradually reintroduce carbs. Now, that doesn't mean you can't have a cheat meal, here and there right after. You don't have to go from being super strict to adding like 25 grams of carbs. I mean, go have a cheat meal if you want when the diet's over. But after you have a couple cheat meals, you're going to start feeling terrible. So you're going to want to get back onto some kind of a regimented plan, and in which case I'll go to my protein fat diet and I'll add carbs, depending on who the person is. For a woman, maybe 25 grams per meal. For a guy, up to 50 grams or more per meal, depending on what their metabolic requirements are. I usually do that for about 2 weeks to 3 weeks to really get acclimated. A lot of guys always ask me, I have no energy. I just don't feel like myself after a show. And people don't understand, just because you go back to eating normally right after the contest or whatever diet you did is over, if you really depleted yourself and got your body fat down to single digits, it will take at least a month to feel, quote, normal. I noticed this when I was competing. No matter how much food I ate, no matter how much I slept, no matter how much I rested, I felt terrible. My body was out of whack. Like my digestive system was all screwed up from eating foods I hadn't been eating. I just didn't feel right. I had no energy. I was like, I don't understand why I have no energy. I'm sleeping all the time. I'm eating as much as I want now, and I still feel like crap, like I'm dieting. Why? Because your body doesn't rebound that quickly. It takes at least 3 to 4 weeks to start feeling normal. So you got to understand that. That comes with the territory. Gradually increase yourself and build up your diet again. If you go nuts and eat everything in sight, every single meal, you're going to feel terrible and you're going to get sick. I'm telling you. I did it once. We all make that mistake once, and we'll never do it again if you're smart. Just take your time. Have your cheat meal, but then get back into a regimented eating schedule.
Second question, again from the Dave Palumbo Experience app. Second question, what benefits does low-dose GH 2IU have for the health?
GH is very regenerative. I've used GH, maybe for 2 weeks, after I got my shoulder replaced on both sides, just as I had like an extra bottle laying around, and I used it for rejuvenation purposes. And you know what? I literally felt a difference because I haven't done anything, for God knows how long. And even TRT I haven't done, and it's regenerative. You recover better. You can actually take a shot and go to sleep. You wake up, you feel like your body has taken 3 days rest. It makes you regenerate better. Let's face it, and it definitely amps up the metabolism a little bit. The problem is people take too much of it, and then they become insulin resistant from it, and then they don't feel good on it, and then they start retaining water. So, from a regenerative standpoint, if you're looking to use like 2IUs for those type of purposes, you're going to feel really good on it. If you start upping the ante, and doing too much of it, you're going to get side effects, and you're not going to feel so good, and you're going to put your health at risk, and you're going to have to really keep an eye on your blood sugar. So keep the dose low. I've said this for years. You're better off low dose over a long period of time than high dose, for brief cycles.
Let's go to our Instagram questions. Again, our handle is official_RX Muscle, and in this period of our lead up to the Arnold Classic, which, by the way, again, major shout out to Chemical Warfare sponsoring our coverage of the 2020 Arnold Classic, the run up, and then of course our on-site coverage. So everything that we're going to be doing, all the progress pictures, all the updates of the programs that we're going to have, and then everything on site is going to be on our Instagram.
I want to say one thing too, Sid, about the coverage. Our press passes have been approved by our good friend Matt Lohr, so we're going. We got the hotel rooms I wanted at the Hampton Inn across the street. It doesn't get much more convenient than that. I love that, so we're going to be there. And we got I got us our invites to Bob Goldman's International Hall of Fame ceremony. That'll be on Saturday afternoon before the men's prejudging. So we're all set with that. And obviously, whatever else we do, that we're going to be doing expo interviews and everything like that. But we're all set. My flights are set. I hope you booked your flight, Sid. I know I've been breaking your chops.
Yeah.
Aceto's set, and our photographer, Ralph Noble's all set. So we're good to go. Everything's ready, and we're ready to take on the Arnold Classic.
Excited for that. And of course, if there is something that you want in particular during the run-up to the Arnold, or in particular when we are there, let us know. This coverage is for you. Let's go to the questions. First question from Victor E. Fitness. Dave, is there any reason why you would lose weight on certain foods like brown rice, and when you eat sweet potatoes and tortillas, you maintain your weight and don't see any change?
Well, more dense calorie foods, are going to help you maintain weight. I would notice that if I did my McDonald's meal every day, which was like 2 triple cheeseburgers and a large fry. Well, actually, at the time, they had supersized fries. And then I had my 2 apple pies. I was able to grow and maintain my weight. If I stuck to all clean food, even if I ate a lot more of it, I just didn't have the same look to my body. So something happens metabolically speaking when you have a ridiculous amount of muscle on your body and you have a fast metabolism that you need to slow it down almost, Now, certain foods we've talked about before are what we call positive partitioning foods, which basically tell the body build muscle, use stored body fat as a fuel source. Other foods are negative partitioning foods, which basically tell the body store calories, and usually means store them as fat. When you have a ridiculously fast metabolism and you have a lot of muscle to feed, sometimes you would think you only want the positive partitioning foods, and for most people who get fat easy, that is the case. But for people with fast metabolisms, you almost want to throw some of the negative partitioning foods in, a little bit of sugar here, a little bit of saturated fats, to kind of slow your body's metabolism down just enough so you can absorb the food and who knows what else is going on there. But I'll tell you that when I have worked with guys or girls with fast metabolisms before a show, I've given, and I've done this with women too, almost every day a burger and fries, like the last 2 weeks, because they're so fast in metabolism and they're ready to go, and I don't want their bodies to eat themselves up. So there definitely is something to more dense calories working in that capacity to kind of slow down the metabolism and let the body kind of assimilate what it's eating.
A couple of questions on the keto diet, so let's see how you want to answer it. First one, your top 5 fatty food options when following a keto. And then the second question, your opinion on incorporating 2 tablespoons of almond or cashew butter while on keto.
Well, there's different fat sources you can pick. As long as you figure out how much fat you need for the day. And for women, it's usually about 0.5 gram per pound. For men, it could be 0.5 to 3/4 gram per pound that you weigh. So once you figure that out, that answers the second question. Almond butter or cashew butter, that's fine if that's part of your fat sources that you allot for the day. I like, the fat sources that I use, I like to use the 3 fat groups of fats. Your saturated fats, polyunsaturated fats, which are your essential fatty acids, omega-3s and 6s, and then your monounsaturated fats, which are your heart-healthy fats, and those are the ones that burn well. Usually monos are the highest, polys, and saturates don't need to be in huge amounts, but you need to have them somewhat. So I'll do whole eggs for saturated fats. Obviously, there's some, if you buy the omega-3 eggs, you also get some omega-3s in there as well. I love wild caught fishes like salmon and swordfish and stuff like that, Chilean sea bass. Obviously those fishes are going to have a lot more of the good fats, whereas the white fishes, the tilapias, cod, won't have quite as much fat in them. So I wouldn't really call them a fat source. I do like to use some red meat in people that have very fast metabolisms. I don't mind that source of fat. If you can get grass-fed, hey, that's great. You're going to have more omega-3s, but not necessary. I do like my almond, peanut, cashew butters. As long as there's no added sugars into them, I'll use that as a fat source. Obviously, macadamia nut oil, I'm very big on because that's a really great source of monounsaturated fats. We sell it at speciesnutrition.com. It's one of our best-selling products. We sell it in a nice big 500 ml bottle. And, that's a great source of fat. Because it has all the health benefits, plus it has the metabolism boosting effects of it. Especially while on a ketogenic diet, it's going to give you a lot of energy. Now, one of the fat sources that I really like that tastes good too for me is avocados. So I'll use avocados with people a lot more, especially in women that tend to overeat nuts. Like I usually use like almonds, cashews, walnuts type of thing in certain meals, especially the chicken and lean fish meals. If people tend to be overeaters of nuts or peanut butter, I'll switch them out, I'll swap them out, and I'll make them do avocados. Or just plain mac oil, because people don't really cheat on those. So once again, I try to vary my fat sources. Every once in a while I'll throw in a different fat source, but those are my go-to ones. Mac oil, big. Walnuts, cashew, almonds, big. Whole eggs I like to go with. Some red meat and fatty fishes. That's my arsenal right there.
Let's go to Happily Fit now. This question is about a comment that Matt Jansen made on last week's episode of Guru Talk. So if you haven't seen this, it's actually a really informative episode. Dave and Matt talk about the last month of prep going into a show. Matt Jansen talks about making sure his client's digestion is good nearing the last bit of prep. How would one know if digestion is, quote, good? Bloating, bowel movements, etc.?
Yeah. A lot of people, Sid, can't digest lactose very well. And they don't even know it. They think they can. I can't tell you how many people I've talked to, and I'm like, oh yeah, I can't digest lactose. I'm terrible. And they're like, oh, I can handle it. And then I start asking them questions about the foods they eat and what bothers their stomach. And invariably, every single one of them has problems digesting dairy products. They don't even realize it. And there's a lot of whey protein shakes out there that they say they're isolates, but they use low-grade isolates because there's different grades of whey isolate. And some of them have more lactose and some of them have less lactose. The ones with more lactose, they will bother your stomach if you do a couple shakes a day. If you do 50 grams of whey isolate, there's a lot of lactose in there if you're not using like a super high-grade one. And you could tell if they're high-grade because you look at the serving size, which most people have 32 to 33 gram serving size or scoop size. If you don't have over 25 grams of protein in there, then you got lactose in there. We have 27.5 grams of protein per 32, 33 gram serving size. So we have virtually, trace amounts of lactose. Everyone always has some trace in their amounts because you can't get rid of all of it. But there are companies that have 2, 3, 4 grams of lactose in there. I see protein that's 22 grams of protein per 32 gram serving size. That's not a good yield. Even though you're calling yourself an isolate, think about it. From 27.5 to 22, that's 4.5 grams. So some of that's lactose, and that's going to bother your stomach. So guys, I notice a lot. I'm not going to name names. I know a lot of pros will start buying my isolized protein. I see their wives buy it, their girlfriends buy it for them on our site. And that's fine. They're smart. They switched to that the last 6 weeks so that they do have good digestion. They don't get bloating in their stomach. Same thing with the dairy products you eat. You got to be careful. Some people do incorporate dairy. Most people that I know will eliminate it, from their diet. But cheeses and stuff like that, that will bother your stomach. You won't be able to digest that. Too many beans, your body can't handle. Certain vegetables. I love broccoli. But if I eat a lot of broccoli, I definitely get gassy from it. So you got to know what agrees with your body and what doesn't. And everyone's different. So you can't make blanket statements. I have people that tell me they can't eat rice. That rice bloats their stomach, so I give them potatoes. So you have to go on a person-by-person basis. Very, very, very few people do I give digestive enzymes to. I know a lot of people are into this digestive enzyme stuff. To me, they don't do anything. I don't think many people have digestive enzyme issues. I think what they have is insensitivities to food, or sensitivities to food, I should say, and they just don't get it. Everyone, for a while, everyone stopped eating gluten because they thought that everyone heard gluten-free. Well, there's only a couple people, a certain percentage of the population that actually people can't digest gluten. Those people shouldn't eat gluten. But if you don't have celiac or an inability to digest gluten, there's no reason why you should stop eating gluten unless it bothers your stomach. So if you've been bodybuilding for more than a year, you know what you can eat and what you can't eat. And that's the feedback you need to give to your coaches so they know, especially if they just started working with you, what to give you and what not to give you. And so he's right, managing foods, okay, or managing how your body assimilates these foods is really important. And of course, incorporating a fiber supplement like Fiberlize on a 2 times a day basis, especially those, I don't know, I'm having trouble saying especially, everyone says I do, but I do. I got to get my dad out of the grave, he's got to teach me how to speak again. Those last 2 weeks or the last 4 weeks before a show, very important to be on a fiber supplement to keep all that waste moving out of your body.
I'm going to give Dave a couple of seconds after that long-winded response. Again, if you haven't already checked it out, that episode of Guru Talk is live right now at rxmuscle.com, the RX Muscle YouTube channel. Reminder right now, Friday, 24-hour sale, Valentine's Day, almost 50% off on Testolize. This is a question that I'm not sure if we've gotten before. Dave, I know you've done a video on this product about a month and a half ago. Massage guns. Now, the question is pretty simple. Is this something you recommend, or is it a waste of money? If you could expand a little bit more about your experiences with massage guns, do you recommend them, and I guess general the applications in which you recommend them?
Huge waste of money if you don't use them. Thank God I didn't pay for mine. Huge waste of money it would have been. No, because I'm so busy. I keep it on the shelf right by my computer. And on days that I'm not crazy busy, I take it out and I do my traps with it, my neck. In like 5 minutes, I feel better. It's amazing how good those massage guns are. Matter of fact, I just got I think you saw it too, Sid. We got another email from another massage gun company that is sending me another one, their version, because they saw me review the first one. And if you go into our YouTube channel and put massage gun, you can see the one I actually reviewed. I thought that I use that one all the time. I love it. There's a new one that this company is sending me, a different company, to try out. And I'll review that also for the site, because I like to give you guys, I do these reviews for free just because, I think it's, if I don't like it, I'll tell you I don't like it. If I like it, I'll say I love it, And I think they're very useful. A lot of people can't afford to go to a massage therapist on a regular basis. If you have someone, you can do it yourself, but if you have someone else that will put the gun on your back and stuff like that, it doesn't require any exertion. So you can just holding it on there. If you have your girlfriend or your boyfriend does it for you, I'll put it on my wife's back. She can put it on my head and hopefully get my brain working a little faster. No, but the truth is they work really well if you use them. It's like the treadmill. If you're hanging laundry on your treadmill rather than using your treadmill, then you're not getting then you're wasting your money. But if you're going to use the massage gun, these things are like power tools. They're phenomenal. They get so deep into the muscle. I can't tell you how many knots I've had like in my like hip flexors from sitting at the computer. I think I'm gonna send you the new one, Sid. You probably can use it. You're at a computer all day. Feels great, man.
Sweet. Let's go. All right, so
that'll be my Valentine's Day gift to you, Sid.
Aww. See that? Now my wife's got a top that.
All I have to do for Tyler is throw him a bag of chips and he's happy. So.
Okay, so by now many of you have seen, or have heard at least, Sean Ray went on Valuetainment with Patrick Bet-David, had some very, very strong comments about Chad Nichols. And of course, that day, Chad Nichols posted a picture on Instagram with him and Patrick Bet-David, so I'm not sure if that episode is up yet, but certainly it's going to be a response to Sean Ray's comments. So Melon Fit wants to know, Dave, are you planning on having Chad Nichols on the show? And I guess I'll add to that, will you have Sean Ray? Will you have both of them on, maybe not together, but separately, in order to get their viewpoints across the airwaves?
I don't think Chad will come on the show. I've asked Chad innumerable times to come on the show, and if I'm at a show like the Olympia and Chad is like hanging out there, we'll get him on camera all day long. He loves it.
We did have him on Iron Debate a few years ago. Remember
Yeah,
pre-Olympia?
he's just tough to nail down. He's busy, I guess. I don't know. He's always, I thought I was busy. He seems to be busier than me. I don't know. It's really hard to get him on a show. I don't know. Obviously, Patrick Bet-David is probably flying him out there. That's what he does, and puts him up in a hotel. So Chad had to go out there anyway to respond to that, because obviously Sean made some pretty serious allegations and accusations. So, I'd love to get Chad on. If he's listening and he wants to come on, I want to get Chad on every week. I love to talk to Chad. I think he's got good insights into the bodybuilding world. He always, if there's ever a problem or someone has trouble with conditioning, he'll always have some kind of solution he'll come up with. Even if you don't agree with it, it's always very well thought out and an interesting insight into the person. So I definitely have him on. I'm sure Sean will come on the show again. I actually asked him to come on today, but he was busy. He's going out on a boat. He's got a rough life. He goes out to eat, breakfast at the yacht club, and then he's got to go on a boat. But hopefully next week we'll get him on, which might be better, because I'd rather have him on after Chad already goes on Patrick Bet-David, so we can have him comment on what he thinks about the whole thing.
Denis Andrianov, he disagrees with your quote every day on cleanse cycle. He had his best results on the so-called OnOff Cycle, described in German book by Manfred Buchmann or Buchmann back in 1998, especially when combined with ECA stack on your off days. The point is to rise a dose from first to sixth day, stay on max for another 6 days, and then continue with 2 days on and 2 days off with max dosage.
Yeah, I don't agree with it. So, you can do what you want. If it works for you, great. I've been doing this for 25 years with clean dosing, and I know it works. But people who use alternate clenbuterol and ephedra are stupid, because the ephedra stimulates the same beta-2 receptors. So the whole idea behind stopping the clen and starting the clen is to give the receptors a chance to regenerate. If you're doing another drug that stimulates the same receptor, you're not doing anything. It's not the clenbuterol that stops working. It's the receptor that accepts the clenbuterol that down-regulates. But it doesn't disappear the receptor. It just lowers itself, because the body doesn't want to burn itself up, so it attenuates itself to the clenbuterol. The problem is that when you go off clenbuterol for 2 weeks, because usually the routine is 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, 2 weeks on, or even if you did 1 week on, 1 week off. When you go off, you go backwards. You don't make you kind of rebound off it a little bit, and then by the time you're ready to go back on, it's like you're just playing catch up. So I don't see the results that way. And I also noticed that when you're doing max dosage and then nothing and then max dosage, you get more side effects, because clenbuterol drops your blood pressure. And if you're going on and off it, a lot of times you're whacking your blood pressure out. You're up, you're down, you're up, you're down. Remember, if blood pressure drops too much from a max clen dose, what happens is your heart has to beat faster to pump the blood to the rest of your body, and that's when people get the heart palpitations. So I find when you do extreme things with anything, especially clenbuterol, you'll notice more side effects occurring, and that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for nice, consistent fat loss. I think the problem is that people, when they first take clenbuterol, that first 2 weeks, it works so well that they chase that effect, and you're not going to get that effect. It's like the first time you pop a Percocet, you're going to get a nice high from it, and then people chase that high the rest of the time. That's how they become drug addicts. So you have to understand that the clenbuterol receptor will downregulate, but it won't eliminate itself. It's still there, and it's still working.
Let's go to Banyanats. Ivan, if someone has a slow metabolism or is sensitive to carbs, why would they just get fat from using insulin? What does it really mean to be sensitive to carbs?
No, in other words, if you're sensitive to carbs, it usually means you overproduce insulin. And if you overproduce insulin, you store things as fat. Now, if you're eating a low-carb diet, people would say, well, if you're eating a lower-carb diet, how is that going to affect you? How is that going to make you get fat? Well, if you're eating a low-carb diet, you're not releasing as much insulin, so you're actually fixing the problem. That's why people who are insulin sensitive or who are carb sensitive or insulin resistant, however you want to word it, it's usually the insulin resistance, which means you don't have enough insulin receptors on the cell surface of your muscle cell. So you eat 100 grams of carbs, it goes into your bloodstream, and then you can't absorb those carbs because there's not enough insulin receptors so your body doesn't know there's not enough insulin receptors. It senses high blood sugar because you're not absorbing the sugar. So what does your body do? It releases more insulin. So you're over-releasing insulin, and then that causes you to store more calories as fat. and we don't want that. So that's the reason. And exercise increases insulin sensitivity. In other words, it makes you produce more insulin receptors. It makes you produce receptors that enable you to absorb glucose without the need for insulin. So that's why exercise improves blood sugar control and usually, insulin, I guess you could call sensitivity. Taking more insulin is stupid. Now people say, well, let's say if you take insulin and you're not eating carbs, well, you're going to get low blood sugar. Your body's then going to turn amino acids into glucose to raise that blood sugar, and then you're going to store all that glucose as fat anyway. So you can't get away from it. Insulin is not the solution to anything. Okay, increasing insulin sensitivity is.
Couple of more questions. I know we're up against the clock, but again, we say this here and there, but I do want to emphasize it. When we post the fact that we're going to have Ask Dave on, we're getting all these questions. And if we don't get around to your question, we are going to try to find another vehicle to answer the questions, even if they're one-off video rants, what have you. But nonetheless, I say this on behalf of the entire operation here. We appreciate you asking the questions, appreciate you watching the show, obviously, and appreciate you doing everything in terms of interacting with us. Let's go to Philip Rowe. What do you think about behind the neck presses and upright rows? Are they bad for shoulders and long-term for most people?
Depends on the person. I know people that have been doing upright rows for 30 years and they have no problems. When my shoulders started bothering me, upright rows used to be brutally painful. But I don't think the upright rows caused the problem. I think probably heavy pressing did, and bad genetics for shoulders. My shoulder joints were very loose always, which is good for sports, not good for lifting heavy weights and putting on massive amounts of muscle. But now that I got my shoulders fixed and I have no pain, I actually can do upright rows again. I haven't done them in like 20 years, and it doesn't hurt. And I don't feel like my shoulders are being overstressed. Now, I'm not doing heavy weight, but I'm doing the movement just to kind of feel it and squeeze the delts. And I've noticed a lot of developmental changes in my body. My body looks completely different since over the last 6 months since I started training, after my shoulder replacement. So what you have to understand is that anything is not good for you if you do terrible form or you have an inability to do the exercise or execute it properly because you structurally have an issue. So some exercises are not good for some people. I don't do French presses. I don't lay down and do the skull crushers. For me, it just hurts my shoulders. It's just an awkward movement. I have a very long arm. I don't feel it in my triceps, so I just don't do them. Other people, it works great for. So you have to figure out what works well for you and what doesn't. If upright rows build muscle in your body and they don't unduly tax, your shoulders and other joints, then do them. I find that people with shorter arms have a better ability to do upright rows without having any problems.
Rupekis, Dave, have you ever pulled an abdomen muscle, was doing heavy reverse lunges with belt and felt a small twinge in my right abdomen in the bottom part? The muscle became a bit stiff and tender, but no swelling.
Yeah, it's a brutally painful thing. It feels like someone stuck you with a knife, and it takes a while to go away. It's like you can function and do everything, but it's like everything you're doing, it's like someone's got this knife in your side, and it's not comfortable. I had a jet ski that sprung a leak while I was on the putting around on it, and it started sinking, and this boat came over to help me, and they threw me a rope. I tied it onto the jet ski, and I had to reach out and pull myself out of the jet ski onto their boat. Now, at the time, I was like 290 pounds, and my shoulders were really, starting to feel bad. So I really didn't have, sometimes when I would do weird movements, it would hurt. So I would, compensate in weird ways. And I pulled a muscle, I guess it was like an intercostal muscle or serratus muscle, which is very close to the abs. Man, that thing hurt me. It didn't hurt when I pulled it. I felt I pulled it, but it hurt me for like 2 months after that. And it, like I said, it felt like someone was sticking a knife in between my ribs. And it's once again, I was able to do all my exercises. It just was uncomfortable. And it was a small, annoying muscle. And that's probably what happened to you. And be patient because everything you do moves your abs. Because of that, it's going to take longer to heal. It's not like you can rest it because every time you sit up from a chair, you're going to flex that ab and you're going to feel that pain. So it'll heal though. You'll see.
Last question from Time is Muscle. Dave, which year was the best offseason that you ever had during your bodybuilding career and why?
Well, from 1994 to 1995. 94, I did the Junior USA in Chicago. It was actually, I remember, it was on Easter Saturday there, and then Easter Sunday we were stuck there. We didn't go home till Monday. But I remember we went to there was almost nothing open in Chicago. I think we went to McDonald's like for every meal or something like that after the show was over. And I weighed 228 at that show, shredded to the bone. The following year, which was about a year and 2 months after that show, at the Junior Nationals, and I think it was in June, I weighed 258 on stage. So I gained 30 pounds of muscle. I also went from weighing 260 in the off season to weighing 310 or something like that in the off season. So I made ridiculous gains. That was my best off season I ever had. It was also probably one of the few off seasons that I was really injury free. I really lifted, no pain. I mean, aside from the simple, aches and pains here and there, I didn't have any major injuries. My shoulders cooperated. My strength was through the roof. That was my best, I would say, my best off season.
That's going to do for this episode of Ask Dave. Again, right now at rxmuscle.com, we're going to have episodes of Iron Debate coming up, previewing the 2020 Arnold Classic. Iron Rage, of course, Lee Priest, spoiler alert, absolutely goes off on Sean Ray. So much packed on the RX Muscle YouTube channel, so check it out. And again, Friday, Valentine's Day, almost 50% off Testalize. 24-hour sale only at speciesnutrition.com. For Dave Palumbo and our producer Tyler Shore, I'm Sadiq Faruqi. We'll see you next time.